Hello, it's me, Vicky Marie. And right on cue, the dogs start barking. It's like they know, isn't it? Okay, how are you all? I hope you've had a good day. I've had a strange day, as you know, because I'm just having a look. So it's 30 degrees here, 30 degrees. It feels like hotter than that, let me tell you. It's really hot. I've got the aircon on, I've got the fans on, I've got everything on. Sorry, excuse me. Very hot and clammy. And of course, earlier this morning, I didn't have any electricity. So if any of you were watching the stream when I was making the stream, the electricity cut off. Anyway, as you can see, it's back now. I'm not even going to go into the whole story. It's just a crazy story, just typical thing of my life, everything that goes wrong. But anyway, it's all okay now. That's what counts. Thank you for liking, subscribing, all those things. You know the drill. You know the drill. Thank you so much. So there's a lot of things to talk about at the moment, isn't it? It's all news, all news. You know, not good news, all of it. Some of it's good news, like England getting through to the finals on Sunday. And I just knew it. As soon as we scored that goal in the 90th minute, my Spanish friend was on the Pedro. Of course, Pedro is Peter in Spanish, very common name in Spain. He was on the phone messaging, oh, congratulations for getting into the final. He doesn't mean it. So he'd be fuming if Spain lose to England, and he'd be unbearable if Spain wins. So please don't support Spain. Please support England. Just think I've got to put up with Pedro afterwards being insufferable because Spain have beaten England. And don't forget, if you're going to get a bank holiday, I think if England win the Euros, our new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, I think it's likely that we'll get, I won't get a bank holiday, not here in Spain. Certainly not if we beat Spain. I'll probably get bloody expelled from the country. You're going to get a bank holiday, hopefully. No, I don't know if you'll get one in Scotland, though, of course. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about Jay Slater, because I've not talked about it for a couple of days, and of course there's still no news in the sense of Jay has not been found. So of course, because of that, all the rumours that are going on, he's not here. I'm just looking at the Sky News website. No news at the moment about it. It's all, you know, the Sky News at the moment, it's all about the human remains found in suitcases in Bristol and the crossbow killings, which were just awful. And of course, you know, that guy, I think he may even die. I mean, it seems like he's got very serious injuries, though. I've got mixed feelings about that, whether I want him to, you know, whether that'd be a good thing or whether I'd rather that he was just held to justice. So, yeah, no news about Jay. So, of course, when there's no news, gets filled in with speculation, doesn't it, and rumours. And the current rumour sort of going round, isn't it, is that Jay may be alive and on another part of the island. That's just another one of the many rumours. We're going to look at that. Someone sent me an article about that. Thank you very much. Somebody else sent me another sort of interesting interview that we're going to listen to. But as always, we're going to listen to all the things. We're going to watch some other things that I've prepared to show you. And then we'll all make our own minds up. I still think Jay is on that mountain and he will be found on that mountain. I don't feel like there's anything that I've seen that would convince me, you know, definitely otherwise. There's a possibility, of course. Hope he is alive on the other side of the island. But I don't know. I just don't think so. But we'll see. hopefully we will find out sooner or later. So what we're going to start with, so I think we'll start with looking at this article that somebody sent me that's saying that maybe Jay is alive on another part of the island. And of course, it's the son, I think, which, you know, is not the most reliable source. But they say that this, you know, this has come from the police in Spain. It's come from a source from the police in Spain. So in other words, they've got no proof of it, really. They just want to put a story on. But, you know, anything's possible. So let's have a look. I mean, I hope for his mum's sake, because I saw his mum on something and I thought she just looked terrible, you know. Every day that goes past, they're stuck out in Tenerife. They won't want to be in Tenerife. You know, it'd be too hot. You know, that it's not a holiday. They're there. She's there looking for her son, who's more than, well, she's not looking for him, but waiting for her son to be found, who's more than likely dead. And so, you know, I really feel for the family, to be honest. I don't understand why people have got a downer on the family, but anyway. So according to the Sun, Jay Slater latest hopes for Jay. Jay Slater cops think he could be alive in a different part of Tenerife as they pursue at least 3 bombshell leads. Bombshell leads. They always call them bombshell leads, don't they? Let's have a look at the video. Oh, where's the sound? Oh, there's no sound. Just to let you know.
The search for Jay Slater is now in its 4th week, but we're still no further forward in terms of understanding what actually happened to the apprentice builder or where he is. There is understandably a thirst for answers, for some kind of explanation, which is shared by the family. That is why they remain here in Tenerife, why they are still returning to this mountainous region, despite the vast size of the area and the knowledge that they are searching for a needle in a haystack. It really can't be underestimated how vast an area this is. And without knowing how far Jay continued to walk after his phone died.
See, they do keep saying that. There's all of them, everyone who's there. There's, you know, you can't underestimate the area, the challenge of finding Jay. And in a minute, I'm going to show you a video about Michael Mosley, because I think we have to remember how long it took. It took 5 days to find Michael Mosley on a tiny bit of an island, and he was right. It turned out he was right next to the cafeteria. You know, so I think we cannot underestimate how difficult Jay's body is going to be found. I do think it will be found, but do you know what? It may not be for a long time. And, you know, there's just going to come a point where his parents are going to have to decide they can't stay on Tenerife forever. You know, it's awful. It's heartbreaking. What point does it come to when you think you've just got to go and continue your life, or do you just stay there forever? You know, I don't know. I just don't even, I cannot even imagine what state I would be in by now if that was my son that disappeared.
It's almost impossible to narrow down that search area. A series of troubling questions have lingered for days now, well rehearsed and the subject of much conversation and speculation. But as it was on day one, they remain unanswered. It's entirely possible we may never get those answers. In the meantime, the vacuum created by a lack of a breakthrough and a shortage of information from the Spanish Guardia Civil has given rise to various online theories, some well thought out and well-meaning, others not so much. The family are in the same torturous position. To put it bluntly, we are no further forward than we were yesterday or the day before that. We understand a few details, but Jay's family share the same questions we all have. His uncle Glenn Duncan admitted just days ago that he doesn't even think Jay is here in this barren landscape to my left. His dad, Warren, says everything about the case stinks, but without the answers they crave, they refuse to lose hope and will continue returning here or until something changes. The awful truth is, without those answers, with the missing pieces of the jigsaw, there is nowhere else for them to go. For now, this remains the last place where Jay was seen on June the 17th. The Spanish police say they are investigating several lines of inquiry, but still, they won't elaborate on what they are. Their investigation remains a missing persons case. For now, Jay's mum, Debbie Duncan, his dad, Warren Slater, and brother, Zach, are the only family members who remain in Tenerife on this island. His uncle flew home yesterday, and his holiday friends, Brad Hargreaves and Lucy May Law, among the last to speak to him, are already back in the UK. And the man who Jay travelled with to this remote region of Masca, convicted drug dealer Ayub Qasim, is also back in London after being ruled out of the investigation by Spanish police. He insists he played no part in Jay's disappearance and says that Jay arrived at the Airbnb alive and left alive. The police also say that he is irrelevant to this case. And so, with so many unknowns...
Yeah, so there you are. So his friends have gone back. I don't think, my personal opinion, I know people have got different opinions in the chat, and that's fine. Of course, we've all got our opinions. I don't think Lucy's got anything to do with it. I don't think Brad's got anything to do with it. I don't think that guy's got anything to do with it. I think, Jay got lost and he will be found somewhere there. That's what I think. And I don't think he was... Anyway, that's my opinion. And until some evidence comes out to change it, I don't think my opinion will change. But having said that, of course, he hasn't been found either. So there's no evidence to support what I think. It's just how I feel.
The desire for answers remains. The truth is, for the family and for those covering his disappearance, this mystery is far from being solved. The questions we all have will linger on until there is a breakthrough in the case, until new light is shed on various aspects, or until Jay is found. In the meantime, the search for him and the answers continues.
But there's civilization and it's a tourist national park. Somebody must have seen something. Somebody knows where he is. Somebody may be keeping him against his will. I don't know. There's all sorts going on in my head. Honestly, it's just awful. I don't wish this on anybody.
I think she's genuine, personally. I think it must be torture for her.
I want my baby back. We just need to find my baby.
So this is still the police. Well, they're not searching, but they don't seem to have. Well, they're not talking about any other theories, but they're still saying everything's on the table. But it still is a missing persons inquiry. Can't be a murder inquiry, can it? If there's no body for a start, so there's no reason to suspect foul play. No evidence. It's all that evidence thing. So yeah, so the police called off their official search on June the 30th. And where are we now? What date is it today? We're now on the 11th of July. What are his parents going to do? Oh, just looking at this actually as well. I don't know if you saw this, but this was, they found this American climber, his mummified body found after 22 years. It's taken to find this guy up in the mountains. So, hopefully it won't take that long to find Jay, but yeah. That's how long it can take. So that's an extreme, obviously. But what we're going to look at in a minute, sorry, I just need to go back to that. Or is it time to put this window down? I think, yeah. Oh, maybe not. Oh, no, because I want to read you the article. Oh. So, Jay Slater could be alive, still be alive in another part of Tenerife. Investigators probing the Brit's disappearance believe. Spanish police are now set to pursue at least 3 bombshell leads after a source in Tenerife told The Sun the case is very much open, with all scenarios being kept in mind. A source in Tenerife. Who's that? Who's that source? So yeah, some photos. So that's Jay's dad, his brother, and that's that Juan Garcia, the Spanish guy that's been helping him. So according to The Sun, investigators believe Jay could be in another part of the holiday hotspot where rescue teams haven't been looking. Cops announced on Tuesday there are still several lines of inquiry active in the hunt to find the missing teen. And as The Sun revealed, investigators haven't deemed the teen as missing, feared dead yet. That's a good sign. So although he's classed as a missing person, he's not been classed as missing, feared dead yet. So that's good, maybe. One of the trio of potential leads revolves around a theory suggesting that Jay could be in a different part of Tenerife, far away from where rescuers and his family have been searching. So then it's just talking about when he went missing. So, but see, they've got one line of inquiries, a theory that Jay may even be in a different part of Tenerife and still alive. All scenarios are being kept in mind. Source in Tenerife. Well, come on, son. These mainstream media are always criticising social media. I could say that. I could say, I've got a source who said, Jay Slater this, Jay Slater that. Just put source in Tenerife. So I don't give that much credence, to be honest. To be perfectly honest, I really don't give that any credence. Who is this source? We've got some unseen Jay photos. So, even though the ground search for Jay is over, the investigation into where he might still be remains very much open. One line of inquiry is a theory that Jay might even be alive in a different part. They're just saying the same thing over and over again to pad their article out. Let's have a look at his photos, bless him.
Whilst there are massive frustrations, I'm sure, for the family and those who loved Jay, I think there are some small crumbs of comfort that can be taken from the statement that the Guardia Civil gave to The Sun yesterday. In that statement, they said that there are other lines of inquiry that they are.
They didn't give this statement to The Sun. They said it just came from a source, Peter, not the Guardia Civil. The Guardia, there's no way on God's earth that the Guardia Civil spoke to The Sun. No way on God's earth. They don't even speak to Spanish press, so they're not going to speak to The Sun.
Pursuing. Now, anybody who's followed this case as keenly as I have for the last few weeks will, of course, realise that there must be other threads to this investigation. So many names have been put forward, so many question marks over some of the characters involved in this baffling mystery. But the big frustration is we do not know what those lines of inquiry are that the Spanish police are following. And in that regard, I guess many of the frustrations are still there for the family. Even though this search has entered week 4, the theory that must be applied is to rule nothing out, nothing whatsoever, until you have fundamentally proven that that particular line of investigation is either not relevant or has been completely closed. Until that point, still consider all options. People who are still speculating, and some of these armchair detectives actually raise some questions that I think are quite valid, until all of these lines of inquiry have been completely explored, completely examined, and finally put to bed. They have to keep a very open mind. Undoubtedly, this Airbnb that Jay apparently spent some time at, and the people that rented that, and those same people that were possibly the last people to see Jay alive, should, of course, be completely bottomed out. That should have been a priority right from day one. I think the Spanish police made a grotesque error in allowing those people to leave the island of Tenerife as quickly as they did, and also to tell the media that those people were not relevant.
Yeah, but Peter, you don't know the full story of the case. They let them go because they had you can't just put someone in prison and keep them there. If you're an ex-policeman, you know that. You can't just keep someone there just because you think they're a little bit suspicious.
Relevant. I don't think the Spanish police had enough time to thoroughly investigate that aspect of this case to actually prove that they were not relevant. I fear perhaps that it was very convenient for them to say that, and that perhaps that might be a decision they are now regretting.
It all sounds like he's had a few drinks as well, mind you. People say that about me even when I haven't, but you always think he's probably got a cigar and a whiskey, don't you? You can imagine him with a cigar and a whiskey.
Quite simply, every line of investigation has to be explored to the nth degree until it is either ruled out or considered as something worthy of even more investigation.
Do you think the Spanish police don't know that? Do you think you're the only policeman who knows that, or ex-policeman? You know, just ridiculous. I'm just thinking, when these people, there's loads of them, aren't there? Loads of YouTubers, social media people who used to be in the police maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And they make a big thing about it as if they know everything, as if they're, But imagine when they were in the police, if somebody would have come out saying all these things about them. It does wind me up a bit, all this. And I used to quite like Peter Bletchley, but I've gone right off him.
But the trouble here, and this happens in a considerable number of cases, is that sometimes people behave irrationally. They don't behave as perhaps viewers might do and I might do. People sometimes do odd things because that's just how they are. Of course, on other occasions, odd things happen because there is some criminality behind it. And that is what the Guardia Civil, the Spanish police, have got to try and establish.
Well, I'm sure they'll take your advice, Peter, because I bet they never even thought of that before, that there might be some criminality. Oh my God, thank God you can put them right.
I've travelled
in English, of course, because you don't speak Spanish anyway.
To the costas in Spain a lot in recent years, doing various investigations, and it's an unsavoury fact of life that in certain parts of southern Spain and on some of the Spanish islands, there are very unpleasant people.
Yeah, but do you think the Spanish Guardia Civil don't know that? Do you think the police don't know that there's unsavoury people, quite often British people, and that's why British people aren't that popular in Spain, part of the reason? because, you know, they caught her. But do you really think the Guardia Civil don't know that? Do you think the Guardia Civil think everyone's really nice and they wouldn't suspect anyone? You don't have had no dealings with the Guardia Civil, obviously. The Guardia Civil are suspicious. You know, they've got, you don't mess around with the Guardia Civil. I keep saying that. If anybody who'd lived in Spain knew Spain properly, you would know that the Guardia Civil, they're not people that you mess around with. So, you know, they know that. If they've cleared the guy, he's cleared, or at least they've got no evidence. It doesn't mean to say in the future they might not want to talk to him, or they might ask the British police to talk to him. They just couldn't keep him there for nothing.
Who are major players in global organised crime, from the Russian mafia to serious players from Britain, of course, other countries, Scandinavian countries even.
Of course there are. But the thing is, they do know that. You know, we do have a Policia Nacional. So the Policia Nacional deals with all these international things. It's just this sort of crass, oh God, you know, as if the police don't know what they're doing.
Have got their criminal representatives down there up to no good. So when a young man disappears in circumstances like this, when one of the people we know was one of the last people to see him alive, has a considerable criminal background, that rings alarm bells. And all those threads of investigation should be properly explored.
Well, they will have been. Oh, it's like, does he think? Only he knows that. The police didn't realise that themselves. The Policia Nacional didn't realise that. Oh, do you think the Policia Nacional are watching that video and thinking, God, yeah, he's right, you know, maybe we should get this guy back. What an idiot. Anyway, so I've gone right off him because he's just ridiculous what he's saying. Okay. So what we're going to look at now, because what I wanted to show you is this this guy is a Sun reporter actually, talking about the day that Michael Mosley was found. So remember, Michael Mosley went missing on this tiny island, and he was found 5 days it took to find him, even though he was literally on the path, you know, next to a cafeteria, 30 seconds, 60 seconds from a cafeteria. So we're going to look at what this guy's got to say, because I think this to me shows just how, when you look at this and then you look at where Jay's gone missing, no wonder they haven't found him yet. It's going to be difficult to find Jay.
It was an incredibly traumatic day yesterday when Dr. Michael Mosley's body was found here on Gea Marina in the island of Simi in Greece. He was found just over in that spot behind me. I was over there at the...
Right, hang on, I'll go back to the beginning. Hey, shush. I'll go back to the beginning there because you might have heard a little bit barking.
It was an incredibly traumatic day yesterday when Dr. Michael Mosley's body was found here on Gea Marina in the island of Simi in Greece. He was found just over in that spot behind me. I was over there at the time. I just walked over there with my photographer because we were going to film a...
Yeah, so he was found here, wasn't he, right by the fence. The cafeteria is literally, you know, right there, and it had been searched, and there'd been drones, and there'd been helicopters, and he was right there in public view. So, you know, and he wasn't found for days. That's how difficult it is to find a body. That's why I still think they're going to find Jay.
Piece of camera giving an update on the search, and at the same time, a bar manager came over. He then alerted us to something on the other side of the wall. We later peered over and saw Dr. Michael Mosley's body. And at that point, you just freeze. It was very shocking, very sad. There are other British journalists who later were alerted to it as well, and we all felt incredibly shocked, sad, distressed. Some of us were on the verge of tears. It was an incredibly sad end to this 5-day search. It's not the outcome anyone wanted, and the tragedy of it is that he was so close to the beach resort where he could have got help. He could have had some
Well, he was just up there, wasn't he? And there's the beach resort. But the thing is, it is sad that he didn't quite make it. So they think he sat down, didn't they? Because he'd been walking for about an hour and 45 minutes in the blistering heat, in the heat of the day, which, you know, we'll never know why he decided to do that. You know, a doctor who should know a bit better. But anyway, he did it for whatever reason. Maybe he took a wrong turn and maybe he thought it'd be a lot quicker than it was. I don't know. You know, we'll never know what his thought process was. And he's come down here. He's probably seen realised that he's near the bar. He's just sat down for a minute because he must have become overcome. And then they think that's when he's died. Now, if it took them 5 days to find someone who was literally here and openly visible, really, how long is it going to take to find someone like in the circumstances that Jay's gone missing in? You know, it could go on for years, that search. It's terrifying, really, for the parents. I think it's just an awful thought. You'd be almost praying for him to be found, even if it was deceased, just wanting to know what's happened to him.
Shade, he could have sat down, he could have got some water. We think he was up in that walk from Peddy to Agia Marina for around an hour, 45 minutes. The walk can take 40 minutes, so he was up there a very long time. And he so nearly made it, as his wife said in an emotional statement yesterday, where she said she was distressed, but called him an adventurous man, and she reminisced over their relationship and said she was very lucky to have had him and had her years with him. Today, there's expected to be a post-mortem, and he will later be repatriated, which brings an end to this very sad story. Any updates, be sure to follow thesun.co.uk. Dr. Michael Mosley's body was found just to the right of me here on this incredibly rocky and mountainous terrain. It actually seems to be a walking route. There are red and blue markings on various rocks showing you the route, but as you can see, it's incredibly slippy underfoot. You've got to be incredibly careful. But the tragedy of this is that from where he was found, walking down this route, it would have taken just 90 seconds to get to Agia Marina. He was so close.
90 seconds away, but it took him 5 days to find him.
Sadly, never made it.
So the mayor and some reporters, they went on the boat. So probably they saw something, the sign of his watch. So they give me a call. One of the owners, they said to me, "Can you go and check that place over there?" I was able to see him from far away. So I went close to make sure that he is. And I went close. I saw the body down there. I called immediately the guy who called me the owner, because he was with the Coast Guard. I said, "You know what? I found the body. Come, run now."
See, he's striding away there, you know, so he's obviously okay there. It would just go back a little bit there. You know, he's not wobbling as he's walking or anything. He's striding purposefully. But that was, you know, they reckon he'd been walking an hour and a half by the end of it. So, you know, even with his umbrella, it's too much in that heat. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you that because I think it's important to realise how difficult it is to find Jay. Anyway, let me just see if you're all okay in chat. Yeah, there was no foul play with Michael Mosley. The thing is, not everything is a conspiracy. You know, this is. I think the trouble is that when things don't get resolved for a long time, that's obviously people start thinking, and when there's not much information coming out, people just. I think it's just human nature that people start thinking, oh, it's this or it's that, or what about this? And the longer it goes on that Jay's not found, the more these theories will come out, you know. And I mean, I've just given up looking on Facebook and things like that, because some of the things you just think, oh God, you know, it's just like, where does it stop? You know, not sometimes things are exactly what they look like they are. You know, not everything is a conspiracy. Not everything is, you know, things do happen, and strange things happen. They do. So, you know, we don't know that something strange really has happened in Jay's case. It could be just exactly what it looks like. A young boy doing a stupid thing, trying to cut across mountainous terrain and coming a cropper because of it. That's sometimes it is what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to look. So would it listen? It wouldn't be a video about Jay Slater, would it, if we didn't have a look at our friend Paul Arnott? But I do find his videos useful, whatever as ever irritating he might be, or you know, where you think he's not really a very good search guy because he's lost more things himself than anything. But he's done this video like Jay's last walk, and I think, you know, it's interesting to watch. So he walked Jay's last known footsteps, and this is on his YouTube channel, so we're going to have a look at it. You know, I might fast forward it here and there, I don't know, because it's quite a long one, but interesting.
Last 3 words point on the map. So let's do this, guys. Let me show you. It's quite a walk, guys. This video will probably be a fairly long one. But what you do is you come from here, Airbnb down there. It's quite windy as well, guys, so hopefully you can hear me. There's been this road works going on ever since I first arrived. It's been going on for absolutely ages. So that's that. You just come up the bend. Up the top here, you can see the phone signal tower, the signal tower, and the cafe as well, just behind these trees, guys. But let's do this walk. Now, I must say, the first time I ever did this, it really did take the breath away from me. And it still does sometimes, guys. If it's quite a hot part of the day, it definitely still gets to me. So I would imagine that Jay would also definitely be feeling the strain of this one. Right now, the sun is over the top of the mountains. At the start, I did do various searches around this area. And last week I did do a little search. You can't really see it too much. I'm just coming through all of this. I've also been all up the top of this ridge and around, and then plenty more searching on the other ravines. There's a few other ways to get down to the beach, guys. Not only that, I've been searching in other areas outside of Masca, and especially at the start of all this, visiting some other towns and villages. But yeah, this is what it looks like, guys. You can still see all the road we've got to go up. I'm going to make sure that I'm pointing out the environment a lot. I do apologise if this video is a little...
Yeah, I know it's irritating, but don't you think it's interesting that at least these videos, you know, that's gets us to see exactly what it's like there. I've found his videos useful, but I know what you mean. He is a bit irritating.
Shaky, guys. Probably should have used a GoPro. The wind is picking up now. Absolute madness, guys.
Oh, we haven't said, God, it took him a little while before he said it. Absolute madness. Madness, guys. Absolute madness.
Such a huge environment.
I think you could see how Jay, because don't forget he spent three days at a rave. He's not in his right mind, is he? And he's just thinking, what's the shortcut? What's the shortcut? And when you look at that, maybe he just thought he'd be okay. He thought he could just cut down to the beach. That's what I think happened. But anyway,
you see all the cacti, big spiders in there as well.
Ooh.
But it's such a dry place, guys. Such a dry place. Airbnb down there. Central Masca Town Square just here. All the aloe vera. The sun is still shining. Up we go, guys. Wind is really coming out here, people. It's really coming out here. So there are like little paths that do lead up, but they're kind of like, that's actual people's land. I have been all through this area. Now I'm just going to zoom in if I can. I don't know how well it will show you because of the light. Yeah, it's quite hard to see. There's quite a big space up there, guys. It's quite a huge area. And when you get to a certain point, you are searching through people's gardens. They have there's loads of terraces out here, and it goes back to the history of Masca as well. So this road, up until about, I believe, 50 years ago, the road only actually came up to here. And this has only just been built in the last 50 years, guys. All of this upper section. So before they'd have to walk or use horse and cart. And it's really interesting. Up here you can see the cafe. That's where the camera is as well. But I mean, if you look around you guys, it's just pure mountains. It's just pure mountains. Now, a lot of people say, why didn't Jay walk down that way and not up here? And you've got to remember, guys, Jay may have had a few bevies the night before. Not only that, Jay comes from the UK. Now, that bus stop is on the left.
Well, I think saying may have is an understatement. He definitely did. He'd been at a rave for 3 days. So he'd had a lot of drinks and probably a lot of substances.
Left-hand side of the road. And from the UK, if a bus stop is on the left-hand side of the road, that's the area that you would probably imagine going in as well. And that's the direction you would take. So that's one reason why Jay would have headed up this way. The wind is still quite windy here, guys. Have a look at all of this. Really is a tough place, guys. Now they've got these concrete blocks, these concrete bollards, all the way up, guys, all the way up. And it literally goes all the way round to the top of the path.
Yeah, I think the thing is, you watch this and you just say, oh my God, imagine walking all that way. But Jay, of course, he was younger, but yeah, why did he not go back to the Airbnb or wait for the bus? Or, that is the mystery for me. Or did somebody pick him up? See, this is another possibility, isn't it? Because you can see cars go past. Maybe somebody did pick him up and maybe he did come to foul play. Completely nothing to do with anything that anybody knows so far. That's just as likely a theory as any other, isn't it? That some car did pick him up. And who knows, what happened. So that's another theory.
And we know from the last phone calls that Jay had over FaceTime that there were these concrete bollards in the background and he was sliding down. So we do know that, guys. Now we've been walking for about
the problem with that, of course, is these concrete bollards go all the way around, so it wouldn't help you know, to show them exactly which part, because they all look just exactly the same, don't they?
6 minutes so far, probably about 6 minutes, guys. And this is where we are now. You need to remember, Jay, he wanted a drink. He was dehydrated if he'd been drinking the night before, and if he was thirsty, then he would have been dehydrated. So yeah, coming up here in 6 minutes. Jay may have taken Jay a little bit longer, although he was quite young. So yeah, this is also.
See, he was quite young, so you know, I think definitely this guy thinks that Jay has come to harm. You know, something's happened to him, and he's no longer with us.
The lay-by, I believe, guys, where everybody can see from the camera up the top here. And where are we looking? Just up here, I believe, from the camera up the top. Oh, is there people up there? Oh, up here. And this is the lay-by, guys, with the car. We should have started. A lot of people were saying their car was parked up. 2 men jumped out the back and darted down here. Now, from that CCTV, guys, this is the spot. But this is where they would have darted down, the men. So you've got to think that's a bit of a crazy one. Now there are footsteps. I've been down this area. Other people have been down this area. But you never know, guys. You never know. You never know what those people were doing. Maybe they were working on the land, or
exactly, they could have been doing anything, and there'd be footprints because everybody's been there looking for Jay.
Maybe they owned some of the land around here. They were just trying to access down here. Now it could have been possibly. You never know, guys. I have come across some people who do scientific research on all the plants out here. I actually met them down a ravine, probably about a week into my searching. So it could have been those sort of guys. You never know. I have absolutely no idea about that. I haven't been focusing on that side of things. I've literally been focusing on searching, guys. So that's that. It's still going. 8 minutes in, guys. You can really start to see the big ridges up the top here. Now, if you remember, I put a video out saying there was a fire.
So what I'm doing, so think about the video that I showed you of where Michael Mosley went missing and how long it took to find him compared to this. So this, they've got no chance, have they? You know, it's a bit depressing sometimes when you watch this. To see, you think, how are they ever going to find him? You know, if they couldn't find Michael Mosley in that area, just looks so easy to find somebody. And now look at this. It looks so difficult to find someone. How are they ever going to find him? I still think he'll be found by accident.
The fire was just round here, just on the top round here. Just up here, guys. Now remember, this is only one section to Masca. This is really Masca down here. This is the place.
Well, that CCTV at that spot, that's known about, isn't it? The 2 men that got out of the car. That's I thought everyone knew about that.
And then up here, obviously, it's more of the national park, although a lot of people call the whole area Masca, guys, which is fair enough. Over the other side of here, on the other side of this mountain, you have to go all the way up a massive road, over the top, down another road, down the side of this mountain, and then you're in a place called Santiago del Tidi, which is where I believe I will be staying from next week. So a lot of you will remember that I put a video out saying that Pedro had actually said that he's going on holiday on the 15th. And I can stay for as long as I want. He's actually changed his mind now. So what he's saying now is he's basically.
I'm not surprised he's changed his mind. He had to ring the police because he didn't come home one night and he was worried where he was. Pedro's nerves probably can't take it anymore, so he's changed his mind. So he's not going to stay at that Airbnb. He's going to go and stay in Santiago del Teide.
Saying I can't stay. And he said for me to actually book the Airbnb that Jay was last in. Now, I'm trying to sort that place out. It's been a bit of a nightmare. It hasn't been showing on the UK booking, but I am trying to get a few nights there back in Masca, because I am actually going to have to stay in Santiago del Tidi for about 3 nights, and then hopefully I'll be back in Masca. But yeah, I'm just going to show you this area as well, guys. So this is one of the ridges that I went.
So he could have took his tent with him, couldn't he? He could have just stayed anywhere then.
Up. Wasn't really too interested about this side. Obviously, I was checking it all out, but I was more interested on the other side of this ridge because it is accessible by game. And it also appears you can access the ridge from here as well. Although that wouldn't make too much sense. But you can just see.
I'm going to just
which are like that, and you just can't come down. Oh, it's actually behind here. It's actually behind here. Yeah, because I was further up, so it was this area I was searching, guys. Sorry, not this area. This area up here, and you can see. Let me zoom in a little bit. It really doesn't even look that bad on camera. That's the one thing I hate about cameras. It just never, it never shows you what outdoor landscapes are really, really like. It just never shows you. It's so windy.
I think it's good, this video, to show you how, as you can see, that Jay might have thought, oh, it looks okay, and that he could have got across it, but he wouldn't have realised till he got into it all just how difficult it was. And then, of course, it all looks the same, doesn't it? So he wouldn't have known where he was.
So windy.
Oh, where is it now? Oh, so there's some.
It's just like a little gift shop bit. They sell a few things related to Masca, just standard kind of stuff. And they sell like coffee and everything, ice cream, so a little bit of food. But this is the viewpoint. Oh, my hat.
Oh, he's not.
My hat blew off, people. My hat blew off. This is the viewpoint.
There you go, nearly lost something else, and he loses something every time he goes. He nearly lost his hat, bless him. So there you go. So that's what the police were searching. That's what everyone's searching now. How do you search that? How do you search it? You know, I know you have to put the, you know, you have to do the grids and search areas bit by bit. You'd have to do it so methodically, wouldn't you? And then you'd have to go back and do it again. You couldn't be sure, even if you went through it once, that you know, that he hadn't been missed. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I think for his family, it just must be so heartbreaking. Do you imagine your son there thinking your son is there somewhere? How is he ever going to get found?
Oh, so windy. So windy. Right, now we're going to go round to where Jay's phone last pinged from, guys. So we come round here, a bit more sunnier over here. The clouds are still coming in pretty low. Now, to access the ridges, guys, the big ridge that I, excuse me, the big ridge that I went across, you come up this way. This is why I'm telling people, when we didn't have all the information, I said it was quite possible that Jay could have came up here. And he really could have, because all you do is you walk up this path. You walk up this path, up there, and you're on the ridge effectively, guys. And then you just have to clamber across. This is the area, this is the area. This is where the press conference was. You may have seen a lot of new interview people stand at this point. This is where they typically were standing. Again, a huge environment.
Yeah, notice the media have gone now, haven't they? There's nobody there now. They were all there. They were all expecting him to be found, maybe, or trying to get interviews. There's nobody there now, and you know, we've got to give Paul his credit. He is still there. He is still there. Whether he's doing it for views or what he's doing it for, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, he's there, and you know, he sent us back this video, which I think is very interesting.
Environment. So me personally, I've been down this side. I've also been, you'll see as we come down the path down here, guys, all down the middle, a little bit over here. This is one of the buildings. I've been all through these terraces, all the way down even further as well. I've been up on these ridges a tiny bit. This is where Mountain Rescue were as well. And on the other side, not only on the other side, it's very similar to this area. And there's even more. You can literally see how far it goes along, guys. There are some major obstacles. So please do not think this is the end. This is the start. This is literally a tiny start of what is going on behind. It's a tiny, tiny start. You can see the sea over the back as well. But this goes on and it goes down. It goes very much downhill. And it's very, very steep in places. Very, very steep. Now I'm going to keep walking around. I'm going to show you where the last phone signal was. Originally, we all thought it was up here. Then we worked out how inaccurate that actually was. And we did test it. Using one of the cameraman's setups. Now, again, we've got more of these concrete bollards. They're literally all around the road, guys, all the way around. And they literally go all the way around. So let's keep walking down. Again, crazy terrain. This is why, guys, you understand now why, for me personally, I've been checking these points, seeing if there's any slide marks. It's really difficult now because of all the people that have come into this later on. But you can see at the start why that was such a good idea, because this area is huge. It's absolutely huge. You need to have some sort of clue or incline where someone could have gone down from. However, I'm going to show you guys. Now we know where the last three words were from. It's more likely that Jay came down here and onto the path. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you. And now you understand why a lot of us are concentrating on this area. I can't really comment too much on the search, guys. However, all the police that I have personally spoken to, all of them, they don't really reckon this area. They reckon the other area. And that's where I've done a lot of searching on the other side of this, guys. All on the other side of this. However, we strongly believe it is going to be this area. Unless Jay came all the way down and then up and over a ridge. Then you know. But it's more on the other side where the search was and has been focused on, especially after the first week, maybe even the first few.
Yeah, because they've got his last ping, but then they don't know how far he went after the last ping, do they? So literally could be anywhere. Let me just fast forward again a bit. He said he's going to go to a path that he thinks Jay went on. Let's go a bit forward.
Much better idea, guys. So far, we're 25 minutes into this. Two mountain rescue, one sniffer dog, and one policeman who was in charge of the whole thing. We did come down this way. This is the area where I guess they didn't do it intentionally. They obviously thought I was okay, but they drove me all the way down here. And it was at the start, and I didn't really have any idea where I was. And I went so far down to the point where this is where I was saying I need ropes and stuff to access the beach. I went all the way down there. It took hours and hours and hours and hours. Obviously, they can't hold their search for me. However, they did know that I was down there. And when I came back up, I had no idea where they had gone. They had just disappeared, guys. And it was a tough day. That was literally the toughest day I've ever had in the mountains, I'll be honest. Because, you know, I went down so far. I started quite early as well. When I started coming back up, it was super, super hot. And it's proper, it's not just like walking, it's literally climbing. It's real life climbing up.
He's learned a lot about the terrain anyway, hasn't he? Because he sort of started off like as if, you know, it was just like a day out hike. But he's learned a lot about the terrain, I suppose. I have enjoyed his videos, to be honest.
Rocks like blooming 5 meters high, trying to get up terrain like this, which is loose, and one wrong blooming handhold or anything like that, and you're just going to end up in a nasty situation with broken bones or even worse. So yeah, not ideal, guys. Now we're almost at the path. So what we do is we come around this corner. So you never know. Jay could have potentially slid down here a little bit. He could have seen the path down there. I thought, hey, I'm going to slide down here. However, what is more likely is he came down here, guys. I think the sun is going to disappear quite soon. He must have come.
This time of year, you're praying for the sun to disappear, or I am anyway. Can't wait for the sun to go down.
Down here, guys. All the way around here. Now, what happens is, if we continue walking round the road here, around this corner, this bend, and we get to another path, and it's like a dirt path. So when I went down here, there was loads of police or civil guards. They were blocking part of this path, and then we went down the path, blocking access. But we'd already gone straight down. So we're almost at the spot where Jay's phone last pinged. So you can see up there, signal tower, cafe, somewhere around there. We're currently almost 30 minutes into this. We're 29 minutes and 30 seconds, guys. So this is how far we've made it. We've made it almost to where the last phone ping was in 30 minutes and a half hour. Remember, look at this terrain. Huge steep banks.
So what he's saying is he thinks Jay went, because this is near where his last phone pinged, that he went off on this path thinking it would take him somewhere, take him a shortcut, but it doesn't. That's what he thinks.
Huge steep banks. Now, I think a lot of people have been talking about this tunnel, this underground tunnel. Everyone's saying, please go investigate the tunnel. This is all it is. It's just like a drainage system, guys. It's absolutely fine. It's empty. Other people have been through there as well. But these are all around the mountain. These are all around the mountain, guys. So yeah, that's how they deal with heavy rain. You got to remember this rock is very, very loose. They need to manage it. And when there is heavy rain out here, otherwise there's going to be so much rockfall. And there are people that live around here. There's about 70 people, I believe, give or take, who live in Masker. It's a really small community. Yeah, now this area, this small part is starting to open up a little bit more. This is where I know dogs have been on this side. There's like some wooden sign there. So here you can see marks that I've been putting in other people as well. I'm not sure who's actually done these ones, but there's some marks there. I've only just...
See, you could, maybe Jay thought that was a shortcut over to the beach or whatever, because that path looks okay at the moment, doesn't it? But I think what he, let me fast forward it a bit. I think it sort of runs out in the end.
Just this bit here, and it's really bushy, and it's quite hard to get through. So yeah, guys, down through here. I remember it now. Here we go. Oh, super tough. Terrain. Ow. And then round here, guys. And it was around this point. You just go through here. I don't really want to go through there right now, so I'm going to get covered in things. But just around here, guys. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you out of this area, just up here.
God, wouldn't it be? I mean, in some ways, Paul deserves to find Jay, you know, because he has been out there looking at least. Maybe, you know, as much as he can. He is there. Wouldn't it be crazy if he did find him?
Because I want to show you where Jay could have possibly continued on to. And this is the point where I came down with police and all those guys. So we'll keep going, we'll keep going, we'll keep going. So what you do here is you follow the dirt path down. I mean, you could try to get through all this, but you've seen exactly what it's like, guys. You've seen what this terrain is like. I mean, it's not very pleasant. Not very pleasant at all.
So remember, it said to Lucy, you know, if we believe Lucy, and I personally don't see any reason not to believe her, he had said to her that he'd got, you know, he couldn't find his way back. So if he did veer off the path, like, and then realised it wasn't taking him anywhere, tried to go back, and then couldn't find his way back, maybe. I don't know. I think it's awful to just think he could be there, literally lying somewhere around there.
So we'll keep going down. You can see how bushy it is. You can see how huge this environment is. Again, even more sections over this ridge. Huge more sections similar to this. It's just a massive, massive place. It's a massive, massive place. Absolutely crazy. So a lot of people say, why don't you like where are all your maps and stuff? And not once have I ever said on social media that I use maps or anything, guys. The truth of it is, if you come down to this area, I mean, you're searching for hours and hours and hours a day, you know where you've been searching, and you get really familiar with this environment. For example, I could come down the path and I could be like, right, I know this path I've gone down and searched. I know I've checked on this side. When you're out here for hours and hours, it just makes sense. So yeah, I was thinking of possibly using grid systems at the start, but unless there was actually a team out here, an actual search team, it's not really going to be much.
Why is there not I thought there was a search team. What about, why is he not joining in with Jay's dad and the Spanish guy, that Juan Garcia, and the hiking? Oh, and that reminds me, yeah, because I've joined some of the hiking groups from, you know, that area from Tenerife. I mean, it's obviously, I'm never going hiking. That's not going to happen. But there's a lot of hiking groups. We'll have a look at them in a minute. In fact, I'll just play this video while I look.
Plus, 90% of the people who have been helping probably couldn't use a map, to be fair. I'm not saying that about everyone, but there's a lot of people who I know who couldn't accurately use a map. And it's not a dig, it's just where people haven't used maps before. There we go, more terraces over here, guys. There are so many different places that Jay could have gone down from here. So many places. Another area I've been through.
Okay, so I think
there's another road up here when we get down.
Yes, once you get on these paths, you could get completely lost. A friend of mine got lost where I live, in the campo where we live, which is nothing like this. And he just because it all looked the same. It took him hours to get home. Him and his dog would just walk around, just miss one of the paths, and the next minute he's walking around in circles. It's so easily done. People think it isn't, but it is. is, you know, just take the wrong. If Jay's gone there for, oh God, I'm not getting anywhere here, I need to go back, and then not being able to find his way back, that's exactly what I think has happened.
Keep walking down the path. You can see one of the buildings down here as well, guys. So one building. Ooh, let me...
Yeah, these little buildings. Okay, now
4 minutes almost into this.
I'll just fast forward to the end because I don't think there's anything. You know, it's
Different
just
things.
what you sort of think. You know, the thing is,
Just so you guys
people
know.
like, we wouldn't
It's
go
so
walking
slippy to
along
get
where
down
went
as well.
back.
So
Of course we
slippy.
wouldn't. But you know, Jay was not in his right mind. Don't forget. You know, Andy's a young lad. They think differently about things. But anyway, who knows? So maybe he didn't. As I say, maybe he got picked up by somebody and came to foul play that way. Maybe he got robbed. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I want to show you now these. So I don't know. You know, if I was the family, I'd be joining these groups and asking them to help. So we've got the Tenerife hiking community. There's nothing about Jay on here. Nothing whatsoever. So I went down all the posts. It's all talk about hiking in Santiago del Teide. Why isn't Paul joining these hiking groups? It's English. They're speaking English. You know, it's funny because they welcomed me to the group. We've got some new hikers. I know you haven't. Won't be getting me hiking there. But just makes common sense to me. Oh, hang on, I'm not sharing it. Here you go. It just makes common sense to me. First thing you do, find the hiking communities. These people are familiar with the environment. You know, the hiking companies. I just don't understand why Paul is walking around on his own when he could maybe at least organise one day to go out with these hiking groups. Maybe the family are doing that, I don't know, but it just seems obvious to me. You know, look, they've got information about the trails. They know these areas. So, and these are experienced hikers. And there's nothing about Jay on here. Nothing, nada. You know, you'd think at least they'd be like, oh, you know, Jay Slater's still missing every now and again. Just strange. So this is the official walk, the Camino Barranco de Masca. This is where I think maybe some hiker will find Jay, because they're going, you know, they do these walks. I think we've looked at this before. You know, this is where you can book your place. It's €29. You know, that link from the hikers Facebook takes you to the Camino del Barranca de Masca website that we've looked at before. Anyway, to me, it just seems obvious. That's for those hiking groups. That's not the only one. I've joined a couple. For me, get on there, get Jay's information out there, because there'll be new people it's a holiday place. People go there hiking on holiday. So the people that would have been there when Jay first went missing, they'll have gone back to their own countries now. There'll be new holiday makers there from all different countries. Some of them won't even know anything about Jay going missing. You know, you've got to keep it going all the time. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know why That's not happening. Tenerife, this is just one of the very many groups, and this is just Facebook. There'll be Twitter, there'll be all sorts of social media groups for hiking there, because it's, for some unknown reason, unknown to me, because it's not my kind of thing, it's popular amongst hikers. That's what hikers like, challenging terrain, don't they? So I don't know, just feel like it's not being, now if I was oh, can you hear me okay? It said that it lost my, if I was Jay's family, that's what I'd be doing. Let's have a look at the GoFundMe as well, actually, before we go on to the next thing, because we like to have a look at the GoFundMe here and there, don't we? So yeah, they're on £52,483 now. So they've got enough money to hire, you know, these hiking teams or whatever. Maybe that's what they're doing. I mean, maybe that is what they're doing. I don't know. So you know, I shouldn't prejudge. Maybe that's exactly what they're doing with the GoFundMe money. It's not been updated. Debbie's not updated since the 6th of July. We looked at that. So, yeah, it's gone up. It's not going up really, really quickly, of course, but it's going up. 21 people have just made a donation. Yeah, nice comments with the donations. People recommending mediums and clairvoyance. Well, do you know what? You could, you know, it might be an idea in the end to try a medium, but I don't know. Okay, so now we're going to look at this. This is a video that somebody else sent me. And now, what you've got to remember, I'm going to show it because it's interesting, but it's somebody who says he knows somebody who says that who works on Tenerife and this, that and the other. We've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. So that's the warning that I'm giving you. I'm playing it because I think it's interesting, but please don't think it's gospel. Go back to the beginning.
Good evening. All right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, so what have you got to say, mate?
My cousin works in Playa del Americas behind one of the bars, and they work with Lucy's roommate. I won't obviously give any names because I'm assuming that that's, you know, that's not the right thing to be doing. But yeah, my cousin said that on Friday when they went into work in the evening, they normally go for around about 7 o'clock to set up for the evening. Lucy's roommate come in and said that their apartment was searched that day by police and another authority. That was on the Friday of last week.
What was the date of that?
You'd have to double check. I'm not too sure, but they obviously that wasn't announced anywhere because they can't be giving up people's addresses and where people are staying. But this was a place in Playa del Americas, which is where most of.
Now, one thing I've noticed about this whole conversation is whenever he's pressed, he says, obviously I can't disclose my sources. Obviously I can't say this. Obviously I can't say that. So, you know, you do have to take it with a pinch of salt. It might be true what he's saying. I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. All I'm saying is, yet again, no evidence, just what somebody says.
Of the staff out there work. Now, you've got to bear in mind that 90%, I'd probably say, bear in mind, I've done 6 summers myself out in Tenerife, in Playa. I lived in Los Cristianos and Playa. and that's where the majority of all workers live as well. But have you noticed that in any statements all over the media, not a single worker has been interviewed?
No.
And there's a reason for that, because
Obviously.
all workers have been told that anyone who talks to any press, anyone who talks to anyone asking questions, they'll lose their job, they'll lose their accommodation there and then. So they've all been made well aware, and also as well understand that the majority of workers out there are 18 years old, up to probably the age of around about 30, living their best life, working 6 days a week. They're about to go into peak season out there, but workers do know a lot of information. They stick together, and again, I can talk to that, like I can say from experience myself, they do, and. Again, they've all been so they're all quite scared about that, but they're just carrying on with day by day as general. They all go to work, they all stick together, they all go out with one another after work finishes to the places that are left open. All other bars all know one another. They all get cheap drinks. You know, majority of the time don't even have to pay. So,
that's standard across a lot of the Spanish resort areas.
It is. Anywhere for that matter. Like I worked in Cyprus, in Ayia Napa as well. So it does. It's the same everywhere. Workers stick together, but they, as I say, it's, to me, from what I've been told, I believe it to be 100% true, because Lucy apparently the next day then flew out to Lanzarote to allegedly go and stay with family. So anyone, and again, that's come right from her roommate direct.
Yeah.
And anyone that's saying, oh yeah, she's out there or she's returned to England, is not true. And I spoke to my cousin yesterday before they went to work, and they confirmed that she was still out there in Lanzarote, whether she's hiding out there or whatever. But what they did confirm was that when the police and whatever other authority it was that searched the apartment there, they were informed that Jay was there. That's the reason why that got searched. And that was like 2 or 3 days after the Airbnb got searched.
Right.
So they searched that apartment because they were told on good information that he was there.
Right.
And she stays, this is Lucy, apparently stays between 2 places, a place in Playa and a place in Los Cristianos.
Yep.
And again, if you know them areas, you know they're not massively far from one another. Still a drive to Los Cristianos or a bus, but that's where she spends most of her time between them 2 places. So they didn't find anything there. They were looking apparently for belongings of his, and the other authority took some DNA evidence, which is what they took apparently at the Airbnb there as well, because there's been amongst workers believe that there's been quite a few different sightings of him in a few different places, not obvious places, but they also believe that at one point one of the workers was hiding him there as well, which I think possibly that may have been searched also. I don't know that for definite. My cousin didn't confirm that. But they said that amongst workers, it was believed that a worker was hiding him somewhere. And that's, as of yesterday, that's all in.
Yeah, nothing can be confirmed, but they said that a worker was hiding it. You know, I honestly, personally, I don't believe any of this, but of course you've got to make your own mind up.
Information, I know.
Now, just to give, and we'll dress this up as pure speculation.
Absolutely.
Just to give your opinion, do you believe that they were housing him, looking after him, keeping him somewhere, not under any restriction, but as in because he was fearful or because he was trying to keep a low profile, or what? Hard to
say because, you know, if you go on every single conspiracy theory that's been put out there as it stands at the minute, you know, this one where they keep going on about, again, forgive me, I don't know what words you can use or can't use on here, but the drug element, the theft element, you know, and that. And you got to bear in mind that, you know, when you hear things like that, if anyone, you know, knows anything really about that, no one's going on holiday, because let's bear in mind the lad's gone on holiday apparently for his first time.
Right.
He's not going to
On
be
his own.
going on holiday at 19 years old, being given a large quantity of the word I just
Product,
mentioned
yeah.
earlier. It's honestly, some of the stuff is
I
just
know.
so unbelievable.
Yeah,
But
and you having worked out there in those kind of fields yourself,
would
you
never
know that
happen. Would never,
not in a
ever
million years. The firms that run those places wouldn't trust a 19-year-old kid with a product.
No, they just wouldn't. And even at that festival, let's just say the lad was there again, speculation. Let's just say the lad was there, let's say helping that trade, if you like.
Yeah.
It's all speculation. Just what he's saying, what the guy, a worker said that another worker was doing this. I've got a mate who works in the restaurant. I've worked in these restaurants for years. None of it is true, in my opinion. There's nothing that is said during this video that you could, actually say was definitely true, except that we don't know where Jay is.
He's still not going to be walking around with £30,000 worth of, and it's
not even 500. Like, it's just unnecessary, and
it just would never happen. No. And the watch thing, I think that's from what I've been told, 100% true. And the other thing as well, it's just amazing. I don't
you're
get
told this by.
That's from what I've been told, 100% true. I don't even think the watch thing is true until I hear it officially, because that was Mark Williams Twonk who came out with that. I wouldn't believe anything he said. He's just going for his story most of the time. So, so we're supposed to believe that a 19-year-old boy on holiday for the first time stole a Rolex watch in Tenerife, where he could get, put in a Spanish prison for stealing it. I personally don't believe the Rolex story. Again, maybe I'm just too cynical, I don't know. But what I want, it's not that. If the police came out tomorrow and said, yes, he stole a Rolex watch, I'd believe it. But I certainly won't be believing what Mark Williams Thomas says.
Yeah. That's a known thing. That's amongst workers. That's a known thing. But you've got to bear in mind that lad had only been out there, I think, a couple of days. Obviously, that Lucy was introducing him and his group of friends to all the different workers that she knew. Yep. There was after parties and that every night, from day parties, etc.
Which is standard.
And it is. And let's have a look as well. Any single highlight of the lad that's in question here, every time you've seen him, he looks like he's, under the influence of alcohol, potentially. Yeah, and that's because that's what 19-year-olds do when they go on holiday. That's just.
And like I said, the statement that the Spanish police released to the press, saying about how it's now not, it's never been, or whatever, it's not a missing person feared dead. They're not investigating that. They're looking at other lines of inquiries. To me, that's
that kind of confirmed it for me as well. When what my cousin said was sort of like, not that that they would.
That's not what the police are saying at all. They don't. It's not a missing person feared dead until they know for sure it is. The police aren't going to say anything. I feel like I'm just like a parrot repeating myself all the time. They're reading too much into it. The police probably do think that Jay is probably dead. But they've said right from the beginning, everything is on the table until they actually find out what happens. They're not going to come out and say it's a murder inquiry, or it's a missing person feared dead, or it's that it's Jay who's done something wrong. They're not going to say anything until they know.
Wouldn't lie to me, and that's the honest truth. They wouldn't. But to hear that what these Spanish authorities have said, they are getting information every day of sightings of where he is, and obviously you're going to go with ones that are believable and not.
So you're saying people have seen him on the island, or they think
people have. It's been known to them, and I think that. I don't want to get his name wrong, but there's some investigator that's into the is it Mark someone?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's going on to talk about Mark now. So he said, he's been seen on the island. Whatever. Honestly, I'm sorry. I just think it's a right load of rubbish. there'll be lots of boys on that island that look like Jay. Are you telling me that Jay is on that island somewhere alive and he's leaving his parents to suffer like they're suffering? Or are we supposed to think that they're all in it together? You know, think about it logically. Where's that going to end? You know, if what he's been missing 4 weeks, so what's he going to do? Just, you know, come out of the shower, like, or, you know, how's it going to end if all that family are in that all together just for the GoFundMe money? Do you really think that if Jay just turned up tomorrow and he's been hiding all this time and, you know, putting his family through torture, or maybe his family were in on it, do you really think that then the police are just going to go, oh, here you go, he's okay now? Yeah, go on, go back to Oswald Twistle with your GoFundMe money. Of course they're not going to. So, you know, I don't believe that. I don't believe he's been seen on the island. I think these are just all people who just like getting involved.
He also mentioned it, didn't he, in one of his updates, if you like, that they're looking at different lines of inquiries where sightings of him have been highlighted, I think, from different places. But
now, in terms of this watch, because this is something that hasn't, there's been no evidence.
He doesn't know definitely, and he's saying this is Mark Williams again. He's terrible. The rumours he puts out, really, really awful. Anyway,
Evidence of this. There's only been hearsay and a very dodgy screenshot of a chat and a Snapchat. There's only been that and Mark Thompson alluding to it, but never really readdressing it. What evidence other than just people talking on the strip of this has the watch? What evidence is there of the watch was actually taken by Jay?
Again, I will only go on what's been said, and that was that a watch was taken from someone who was heavily drunk, who was taken.
Yeah, what that guy just said to him, what evidence is there that a watch was taken? He said, well, again, I can only go on what was said. You know, a guy had a watch taken off him. In other words, no evidence. There is no evidence that a watch was even taken.
Advantage of, and I think that after, by the sounds of it, he's got himself a little bit scared when he's worked out that person wasn't just a nobody out there.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but can I ask, have you ever had a Rolex watch or an AP?
Yeah, it wasn't a Rolex, just to clarify that as well. Let me tell you something else as well that goes on Veronica's strip. So that's the main area, by the way, where you get quite an influx of people, and it's a known thing that there's organised, I won't say which ethnic group does it, but there's an organised ethnic group that look to steal wallets, watches, bags.
There's all the racism coming in now, you know. Yeah. Okay. Do you know, do you think the police won't have questioned all that there are? Like the lucky, I don't know if he's referring to the lucky men or the Moroccans or whatever, but there's an ethnic group. But of course, British people don't commit any crimes, do they? You know, no. So it's just xenophobic, racism. And no evidence. If he had evidence of it, that's a whole nother thing. But it doesn't.
That's known, yeah.
Cash, that has gone on
since Veronica's was around.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a known thing. The police are aware of it. They always try and make out, but it's very, very well organised because these people they get into the bars, they get into the clubs there. It's gone on. The groups of people, I could tell you over the time that I was there, that you'd meet and they'd tell you, oh, I've just been over such and such, and this one's had this stolen, this one's had that taken. And they always prey on those that are most drunk.
Is it established that he stole the watch on the night before?
So what he's saying just doesn't make sense. So he's just said that Jay stole the Rolex watch, and then he's saying that these ethnic minorities, they're the ones that do all the stealing. And now there will be any tourist place, there are always pickpockets, thieves. So is it, you know, what's he saying there? So he's saying that it was Jay who stole the watch 1 minute, and then he's saying it's all these ethnic groups that do all the stealing. God, they just like the sound of their own voice, some people.
Or he went to the Airbnb. Is this what you're saying? Because by all accounts, Jay wasn't in any condition to steal the watch.
No.
Or was it a situation of he's
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. Well, again, I can only go on what I was told, and that was that he was definitely involved in taking that watch, and he had that watch. And now whether them people at that apartment knew that and wanted it. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, did you not say Lucy tried to get protection to get herself out of the country?
Yeah, she phoned the British Embassy. I don't know if have you seen all the phone calls she's alleged to have made, like not long after this, to all the different, and you'd think like, wow, you've pulled them out.
She's alleged to have made. That's the key word. You don't know what phone calls Lucy's made or not made.
Really quick without getting hold of all these numbers. Yeah. She's done that because which is why I'm going, you know, kind of what's gone on here. Does she know more than what she's letting on? She probably knows these people who are involved in where certain things get stolen out there, etc. And again,
she probably knows. You know, it's all. It's just getting worse and worse.
It's a hard one to tell, but why is she so scared? And why also after that apartment search? And bear in mind.
So who said she was scared, first of all? And anyway, she's probably more scared of, conspiracy theorists like you throwing sort of accusations at her. I think that's probably what she's scared of, if anything.
That her and the roommate both had to be present with the landlord. They didn't search either of them two, but they did search the apartment, and say there was two different authorities there. One was the police, and another one was guys that were trying to get forensic evidence, I believe DNA, from what, again, I've only been told. You've got to wonder why then the next day she flies out to Lanzarote to allegedly be going to stay with family that are out there. And she, for what she's involved in out there, apparently this is another thing as well. She wouldn't really be leaving this time of year when they're going into peak season. Well, in regards to the embassy thing, it only clicked to me because when my cousin mentioned that, when this was first going on, she was still making herself quite relevant around the area of Playa. And again, you know, if anyone who's on here knows and has been to Playa, you would know that area. You would know what goes on around there. You'd know it's a very vibrant area at night time, particularly the season that they're in at the moment. And yeah, while she's trying to make herself busy in the sense of they're looking for him, obviously other workers that know her certainly have a different opinion in how she conducts herself out there. So
she's not doing herself any favours.
How many years has she been going over there? Do you know?
Who, the roommate or Lucy?
Lucy.
Not a clue. I don't listen. I'll be very, very clear. I don't know that girl. I don't even know the room.
It's going to be crystal clear. He doesn't know the girl. He doesn't know the room. In other words, what is he even talking about? It's got there's not one thing he's said so far in this video, in the 13 minutes, that is anything but gossip. Gossip may have a root in truth, some of it, who knows, but there's nothing that is said that he could back up. Whenever he's challenged on anything, he just says, oh, well, I'm just saying what I was told by my cousin who's linked to Lucy's housemate.
Roommate, what I do know is my cousin works with the roommate. The roommate
and there's a
is very... Yeah, there is, and workers stick together, and
They do,
like
yeah,
I already
they have to.
mentioned, as Units already said, there clearly understands how it works. I've done 6 years, as I say, out in Tenerife myself. I very much know how it works out there. I've not just done Tenerife, I've worked others as well.
And there
other
are many
countries.
clubs that will actually either take your passport or not to fuck with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the
Doormen
reason why
stick together,
they
all do.
So there is a very much a code of ethics between people not to talk or not to fuck people over or not to steal, not to cross anybody.
They're a class of their own workers, and everyone knows them. If you go out there at the start of the season, you get introduced very quickly to all owners of all bars. You all know where to go when you finish work. They all stick together. They do stuff on their days off together. That's how it is, and they've all been told that they are not under any circumstances allowed to talk to any press, anyone asking questions.
Well, they may well have been told that because, of course, they don't want people not coming out on holiday, do they? So they may well have been told not to talk to anyone. Maybe even the police have said don't talk about it. But the thing is, this guy doesn't actually know that, does he? So again, no proof. Where's your proof?
Any media of any way, shape or form don't put nothing on any of your socials, and they have all been told they'll lose their jobs and accommodation if they do so. And I think a lot of them know that probably more would happen as well. So
yeah, I think that's obvious, isn't it? Because you would have thought a lot of people would have came out now.
This is it. Yeah, you would have seen a lot more.
And that's what I mean. We're 4 weeks in. And you've got to wonder
so many phones and so many people on social. Why has there not been so much been posted?
Why has not a single employee been interviewed by the media as of yet? Take that as you will.
I mean, I'm assuming the staff can speak to the police, obviously, or is it the bars that are basically saying don't speak at all?
Yeah, so the bar, and as I say, the bar my cousin works in is, I would like to think, still one of the biggest, if not, I would say but there are a lot out there that, get a lot of influx this time of year. They have all been told by all owners, they were all called to meetings to say what will happen if they are found out to be talking to or distributing any information on socials or speaking to anyone out there that comes and asks some questions about that person or anyone else.
Yeah. And does that include the police, or would they be open?
That will be including the police as well.
Police, yeah. So in other words, they won't have all of that evidence, is what I'm thinking, in their pocket.
Which is why, which I know to be true, because the roommate of Lucy's, she had to be there present when that apartment was searched. Her, Lucy, and the landlord as well, whilst the police and whichever other authority it was that was there to search that apartment. And again, because the information that I was told was that they believed that he was there hiding. And as it stands out, it clearly wasn't. He's been reported seen in quite a few different places. And
even now, it passed during the searching. He's been seen.
Again, I only spoke to my cousin not yesterday, the day before, obviously, and he said again, it's all talk amongst workers that he's been spotted in quite a few different places.
And you would
that
say
must hold some truth to it, because the news reports today are all talking how he's very positive, as if he is still around and he's still alive. They've not gone into any detail of what's gave them thoughts, but it does sound like they've got some reason to believe that he could still be alive.
Yeah, and the police know as well. They're not going to get nothing out of any of the workers. They're not going to get any information out of the workers. They haven't even tried interviewing any of the workers. They've not asked, who's this one, who works there? They that Lucy come forward herself. She's not actually an official worker for anywhere. With again what she's involved in out there, but
so
she's
she
the one
is
that's
involved in stuff out there, then, mate. She is.
What was that? What was that? Sorry.
In your belief, is she involved in all that sort of stuff out there?
That's 100%. She is, and it's not like her first skedaddle, if you like.
Oh, she's 100% involved in everything, and it's not her first skedaddle, but he doesn't even know her. So there you go.
Being involved in it, she's been doing it for quite some time. From again, what's been said, because the roommate, she lives with her, but the roommate is an actual worker out there. She works at the bar.
Okay.
whereas Lucy does not, and she's meeting different people in different places in X, Y, and Z, and
But still in
look,
staff
again,
accommodation.
and if you know how that works, you'll know exactly what.
Another quick question: out of like the workers' side of it, like when you were working out there, did people randomly just go missing for a few days and stuff? What I meant by that was missing as in getting involved with dodgy people and then things happening. Is what I meant.
Yeah, that's people
Does
are
it
going to
go
want
on?
to, as I
Does
say,
it
after
go
a
on?
festival. Yeah, of course it does. People, I'll go from the times I was out there.
That's what I meant.
You know,
when
saying
you were
that,
there,
my mate, we've lost him. He ain't been back for a couple of days, and that generally does happen. And all of a sudden, they've resurfaced.
But
now,
you wouldn't go and report him missing.
Not that, and that's what she did. She knows everyone out there, and she's reported him missing after a phone call. That's what doesn't make sense to me. She knows a lot more than she's letting on, because literally after a
Okay, so hang on. So yeah, just after a phone call, but it was a phone call where Jay said that he was lost, he was panicked, he had no water, he had no battery, his phone cut off. She tried to phone him and couldn't get hold of him. So that's why she reported him missing. And I would do that for my friend. My friend phoned me. You just imagine that your friend phoned you and said, I haven't got a clue where I am. I've cut myself on a cactus. I've got no phone battery. I've got no water. And he apparently was really panicking at the time. If that was my friend, and then their phone cut off, or I couldn't get on, I would. I think she reported him missing about an hour later of trying to get hold of him. So I don't think that's strange at all, because I would certainly, if once I couldn't get hold of my friend and they told me that they were lost in the mountains with no water, no phone signal, and they were panicking, I would report them missing. How is that strange?
phone call, she's phoned up allegedly all these different, police, 911s, emergency services, and then British Embassy, all these people. She's wanting to get involved quickly.
That was the bit that I was saying a bit about earlier on. I'm not going to mention names again. Sorry, I should have done that before. But that was some of the questions that was asked.
And
she's obviously got some involvement from her side, because she didn't want to be seen on there as well. Any of her media, her eyes are always covered. She didn't want to be shown in that. Yeah, she doesn't want the emphasis on her. And again, from what I've been told, she's apparently made herself busy for the first couple of weeks, setting up the GoFundMes and whatever else, and, helping out, putting these posters up. Allegedly, she knows all the workers out there. They all know one another. So that Lucy knows a hell of a lot more than she's let on. And I've listened to that interview probably a good maybe 10 times now, and you can just tell and she might be a little bit scared talking on the news. That's understandable, but she backtracks.
It's not even her voice.
On a lot of stuff.
It's not even her voice. It's like an actor's voice talking.
Oh, is it really? What? So it's not actually her voice talking?
If you listen to it, and I was talking to a reporter earlier who messaged me, who was in my live, and I said to her, that's why I was going to talk to Thingy after, but it basically, so when she was facing away, that.
So there you go. We just have to make our own mind up until there's any proper evidence that comes out. But I don't think there was nothing that guy said that was backed up by anything that evidentially. He can cast aspersions on Lucy. Maybe she's a drug mule or a drug runner or whatever. But, what we don't know that she is, nobody said officially that she is, and she's not been arrested. And, she might be somebody just really upset that she's lost her friend. So just the way I think about it is, until I know any different, that's how I'm going to think. Until I'm actually not told by Del Boy there, but told by the police or told by the family, told by somebody official that is the situation. I won't be thinking that is the situation. So, we're not any further on from that, his interview, are we? We're not any further on even from, you know, from Paul retracing Jay's steps, because we don't know really they're Jay's steps. It's just interesting to see the terrain again and everything. But at the end of the day, another day's, you know, the sun has gone down on another day that Jay's mum doesn't have Jay. And again, depends what you believe. It could all come out that it's all a big stage thing, but she comes over to me as genuinely heartbroken. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want British police involved in it. They never found Madeleine McCann, did they? They didn't find Ben Needham. They've not, you know, British police don't always, you know, they look at what they did with the Nicola Bulley case and lots of other cases. You know, I don't think the British police are these sort of saviours that are going to come and do fantastic things. I think the only thing, obviously, for the family is not having the language barrier would help, wouldn't it? Would help them. The language barrier will be but I don't think the British, you know, the British police aren't going to be able to go out there and change the way the Spanish police work. You know, the Spanish police don't give information, so they're not going to give any more information just because the British police, they'll give the British police the information, perhaps. But then the British police won't be able to give out any more information. They won't be allowed to, you know, because it caused some sort of a diplomatic incident. You know, it reminds me a little bit of the Anna Knežević case, because Anna Knežević, when she went missing, you know, I was in touch with her best friend, Sana. And Sana was and Anna's family, they were very frustrated about the way the Spanish police weren't giving them any information. That Anna had disappeared, hadn't she, from her flat in Madrid. They were getting no information from the police. But I did sort of find out, you know, that it was being dealt with by the gender-specific police. It was being treated very seriously, but they were treating it secretly. And then it felt like nothing was happening, didn't it, for ages. And then suddenly they arrested Anna's husband at Florida Airport, and now he's been charged with kidnap. And because they haven't charged him with murder yet, but of course they haven't found her body yet. But you know, it seemed like they weren't doing anything, but they're doing it all behind the scenes. Next thing you know, Davido, he was arrested at Florida Airport, and turned out it was this big operation that involved the Serbian police, the Spanish police, the Colombian police, the FBI, and it had all been going on behind the scenes, but they just weren't talking about it because that's just not what they do. So, you know, it was treated with the utmost secrecy. And that's just what they do. But, you know, it doesn't mean to say they're not doing anything. It doesn't mean to say they're not efficient. It just means that's what the way they work. And we just have to accept it. Oh, and as you say, David, it may be that the British police are involved. Look at that as again, Anna Knežević's case. Those other police forces were involved, Serbia, Colombia, and the FBI, but we didn't know. You know, we didn't know that they were. They weren't saying anything either. So you can never assume that just because we don't get to hear about it, it's not happening. Anyway, so I was just looking to see if there's no news on Sky News about Jay. I don't think there's been any. And if the media will get fed up with the Jay Slater case because other cases come up, don't they? It just seems to be lots of very dramatic cases at the moment, and I'll be doing some videos tomorrow about the other cases. And of course, if anything does transpire about Jay, I will be back to tell you about it. But yeah. Okay, that's it. That's it. Oh, I thought my electric had gone again. Then the screen went off. So I'm going. So thank you so much for being here, and especially you members. Thank you so much. And remember to live and love wisely and carefully. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And of course, until then, may your God go with you. Thank you so much.